There we go. What's going on, y'all? This your boy Chris Simmons coming to you with another podcast episode. And as always, with my partner in crime, ladies and gentlemen, Sandra Cruz. What's going on? How you doing?
Hey guys, everything's good. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Nothing. I came back from New York, spent the holidays in New York. Well, New York, Connecticut, but it was freezing. It was like 6 degrees. But nonetheless, even though it was really, really cold, I had a good time. I saw my brothers and my sisters, and my parents and my aunts and uncles. So that was a blessing. Other than that, I'm just came back. I'm here in PR, and that's it. I mean, I'm back to the nice weather though.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, your boy been also on the move. Go on mute. Yo, I can sit here. Okay, there we go. Try going on mute for a second. Okay.
Ooh, let me see if it'll let me. Oh, there we
Okay.
go.
Yeah, because you got the yeah, because so the thing is she on her phone because her power went out. And so her phone usually has an echo. So that's why I was like, okay, yeah, I can hear the echo in the background. So we'll just go on mute like we do for the lives. But it's all good. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there in Puerto Rico, but it is what it is, but it's all good. But yeah, like I was saying, your boy also was traveling for the holidays as well. Boy went back up to Ohio, and that was one heck of an experience. Because the roads was bad. It was snowing up there in Ohio, and so because it was also cold as well, like the roads, like when there was snow on the ground, it started to freeze over, so it just turned into ice. And yeah, it was a rough ride, like coming up there toward Kentucky, Ohio, because it was pretty smooth, when I left Atlanta and was moving up toward Knoxville. But once I got north of Knoxville, uh, up toward northern Tennessee, southern Kentucky, that's when it just all went downhill. Me and my cousin, I took my cousin with me. We got stuck in traffic a couple times. There were a couple times where it was like really slow because of like the snow on the roads. So, a lot of people was driving slow. Some of them driving scared. They were driving with their hazards on. I'm just like, come on, y'all. I'm like, man, just come on, keep it moving. But that's just me because, like I said, I'm used to it. Like when I went to school up in Kent, like that was probably, a lot of the times I had to drive in the snow because it would snow like 10 to 12 inches at a time. So I'm just used to it. But the people that coming from the South, you have people coming from Georgia, people coming from Florida, people coming from Alabama, North Carolina, like, people in the South, they ain't used to all that. So, I could tell like when the way they was driving, I'm like, yeah, nah, like y'all gonna have to move over because I'm trying to get to where I need to get to. And it took longer, it took a total of like 10 hours, like just because of how slow things were. But I was just thankful that we were able to make it safely. And I'm just thankful that we didn't get into an accident because there were several people on the road who got in accidents. It seemed like every 15 miles somebody was pulled over, somebody had gotten a wreck, somebody had spun out into the ditch. Like it was crazy coming back. It was crazy. But I'm just thankful. Like I'm just so thankful that we made it safely. So but when we got up there, it was a great time. Got to spend time with family, family who I haven't seen in a while. Uh, I got to be back home for a little bit, what I'm saying? Got to be back in my room. My parents still have kept my room intact. They haven't turned into anything. So that was cool. I got to sleep in my bed that I slept in for pretty much all my life. And it was just a great time just to catch up. So it was just a great um time to just relax, recharge. And now I just came back here in the A. I came back Tuesday. So I'm glad to be back. What I'm saying? Glad to get back to work. So it's been great. But anyway, I wanted to first take some time out to just have me and Sandra share about some things that's happened with us over the past year, in 2022, because we coming down to the wire in about a few more days. People gonna be watching the ball drop and be celebrating the new year. Um, so hopefully you got as much out of the year as I did, because like I said, like I always take time to fulfill every single moment. And if you haven't, then that's on you. Because you know what I'm saying? You had 12 months to, make moves. And if you didn't get the most out of 2022, then like I said, you got to think about what you're gonna do in 2023. But I definitely have gotten the most out of 2022, has had a lot happen to me. So I'll go ahead and start it off just by just going back to just with the when in January when I had came up with a theme for this year. The theme for this year was called Going Places. Now, I definitely went a lot of places, you know what I'm saying? But just to touch on a few things, I'm not going to take too much time, going back and reflecting, because I do want to get into what I really want to talk about that will really help you guys out going into 2023 to hopefully have y'all, to hopefully for those of you who didn't have a great year, hopefully you can move with some intention, move with some purpose. Um, but I know for me personally, I've had a lot of transitions, a lot of things that's happened to me. I know earlier in the year, me and my friend Dev, we took a trip to Philly, and that was a great experience. I got to travel for a little bit, got to see the city of Philly, and got to experience a lot of great things. We did have a Philly cheesesteak, so that was really bomb. That was the bomb. Um, so yeah, we really enjoyed our time in Philly, and then a couple months later in May, graduated from college, graduated from Kent State, and that was a pretty cool experience. And then after that, later in the summer, I moved out of Ohio, moved down here to Atlanta. That was one big transition, but I think it went well. I think it was a smooth transition for the most part, except when we got to the apartment. There's a lot of stuff that needed to be taken care of. But other than that, we were able to get together, had really, just settled in for the most part. So it was just a great transition for me. Love being down here in the A, what I'm saying? Love the atmosphere, love the culture. So that's been a big blessing for me. Also went to Huntsville a couple of different times. First time ever going to Alabama. So that was one heck of an experience, you know what I'm saying? Uh, and then, like I told y'all, I just went up to Ohio, you know what I'm saying, and got to see some family. But yeah, I definitely had a lot going on and just been making a lot of new connections and stuff like that. And in terms of the podcast, I can't believe that it's basically been a year since me and Sandra started working together. That was one thing that I wanted to wait to say, because I think about in the beginning of January, I remember I was on this call um, with Miss Denise Taylor, who was actually uh, a mutual connection, because my mom knew her back when she was in college. And she had invited me to be on this like little, I think it was like some type of connection event that she was hosting, to where she brought, different types of people on and stuff like that. And I remember she put us in the breakout rooms. And I remember it was on the last one where I was paired with Miss Sandra. And that's where we started talking. I started telling her about me. She was telling her about her. And that's when we just connected and decided, you know what, we're going to extend our connection outside of this little meeting and try to see if we can work together. And ever since then, it's been great. I think Miss Sandra has been a great addition to the show. Uh, Definitely has uh, really just made the show a lot better, with her perspective, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's just been great, because I remember I was working with somebody earlier before her, and she said, you know what, I have to step down due to personal reasons. And I was like, fine. And at the time I was like, man, like I would really love to have a co-host. But for a while, I was just kind of doing it by myself, and then had a couple guests on and stuff like that to bring some different, new, fresh perspectives on. And then that's when I think me and Sandra at first started off as like, okay, I'll just have you on, every now and again. But then over time, I'm like, you know what? Like I think like I could have you on a lot more. And then all of a sudden, just boom, like we just started doing meeting every week and stuff like that. So it's been great for real. It's been really good for real. So she's been a great addition to the show. And then hopefully we can continue to keep working together, continue to, bring out some great content. So it's been great, man. And I definitely see the direction of this podcast, continue to move forward and, just a lot more great things in store for the upcoming year. Um, but yeah, that's for me. I'll let Miss Sandra go ahead and take over, you know what I'm saying, and just share some things that she wants to talk about that's happened in the past year. So Sandra, you can go ahead, come off mute now. You know what I'm saying?
I totally forgot I was on mute. Uh, yeah, let me tell you something. I can't believe it's been a year. Thank you for having me. That was really nice. Um, I never, like, I thought about it, like, when we were talking before we got on this call, I was like, man, it's been a year. So that was actually, I'm going to start off with that. That was one of the things that happened to me this year. I was on a call, and it's so funny because I wasn't going to get on that networking event. I thought to myself, oh, why do it was like at 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, should I just go to bed or should I go ahead and join? And I decided to join at the last minute. And so when I joined at the last minute, we were in that big room. It was really cool. It was nice to meet a lot of people, but of course, me and Chris got a little bit I don't know, we got along. I mean, I got along with everybody. I get along with everybody, but it was just like the things we were talking about. We knew that we could go ahead and continue outside of just the networking to create some really great content. And so here we are a year later. So I mean, I guess I should say happy anniversary to 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 our content creation. And I hope that we can do different things and maybe take it further. I mean, I've seen that we've grown and you know, um it just takes persistency and consistency and I know I'm willing to be there for 2023 because like you said 2023 I'm moving with purpose. And I said this the other day. It's so funny. I said this to somebody. I said, "You want to know what? 2023, I'm moving with purpose. Like I want to move in the direction where I want to be. I want to be who I say I am, and I want to, go where I say I'm going to go." Um, and that's purpose. But some of the things that happened to me this year were some were really deep, were really profound. I learned a lot of personal lessons. Let's see. One of them was Chris. What else happened to me this year? Some good and some bad, but I learned. Unfortunately, I had, the passing of my uncle. But aside from that, it became a stronger bond with my family and my mom, which is really awesome. Um, I think that was one of the biggest things. And let's see what else. I traveled to New York, of course, this past Thanksgiving. And most importantly, my coaching business. I left I in 19, let's see, I mean 19, listen to me, 2021, at the end of it, actually, I left where I used to work, which was passport services. And that was big for me because I made the leap of faith to actually open up my coaching business. Um, but it was like really towards the end. So I could say it was 2022. Um, actually, yeah, in 2020, I left passport services. 2021 is where really towards the end, it's really started taking more of a structure. So I'm proud of that. I've seen how I've grown from and small leaps are big leaps in this business. So I've seen how I've grown from like one follow to 60 follow in this past year, which has been really awesome for my business. I gained a client, which was really good when you're starting out in the business. Um, and I'm blessed for that. Let's see what else has happened. I moved into my own apartment, which was really good. I enjoyed that very much. It overlooks, I was telling Chris, it overlooks the I don't want to say downtown area, but it's basically, yeah, the tourist area with the ocean. And I am 5 minutes from Old San Juan, which is amazing. So um aside from that, I think one of the biggest things this year was deciding to move in purpose and taking all the lessons that I've learned and moving forward in my own personal development. And I think giving that to my clients this year and uncovering that I can give that to my clients this year was one of the biggest things that happened to me, Chris. Overall, I've been very blessed. I started working for Uber. In those lessons, I learned how to budget really well, because when you're starting your own business, you've got to live on a budget. So I learned that. I learned the meaning of purpose. I learned how to walk in my purpose and do things purposely. And more than anything, I think one of the biggest, aside from that, the other biggest thing in my life is I became closer to God this year. So I think that's a reflection of everything that's happened to me this year. I can't say I've traveled too much this year just because I haven't been able to. But 2023, I think I'm moving with that purpose to travel more. So I've kind of, after this little vacation, I know I want to travel more if time and money permits. But this year I'm going strong and hardcore on my business, which is great. And I've already started. Oh, and one more thing, which is amazing. Um, I am going to be featured on a new platform called Vibely. And that platform is for health and health services. It's a health and coaching. So a lot of good things. You find a lot of coaches on that website, and of course, other people manage that platform. So they're going to be the one driving most of the traffic on that page, which is great for my business. So I'm excited about that. That is to launch. Well, it's already launched, but I am going to be featured on that soon. So stay tuned for that. So I think 2022 for me was really good. And I think 2023 is going to be even better.
Yeah.
So there
Okay.
we are.
All
That's my
right. All right. Well, well, hey, look, it seemed like you had a pretty fulfilling year. So that's great, you know what I'm saying? And that's what you want to have, every year, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to like have something to where you can remember it, man, because you know, it all depends on like what you do. Because like I said before, life is comprised of what you do and what you don't do. And sometimes, things will happen out of order. See what I'm saying? Like you may have a list of things that you have going on. Oh, you got going mute. You still echoing. There,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, there you go. Okay. So, like I was saying, you may have a list of things that you may, have that you want to do throughout the year, which is great. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes things may not always happen in a year. Some things will be continuous. You see what I'm saying? But I think like, you know, there's always going to be some lessons that you take from the year, which is great. You know what I'm saying? Like you should never like look back and be like, man, like that year was just it sucked. Like you should never like go into a year, wanting it to be over. You see what I'm saying? It's like you should always continue to keep pushing through, like continuing to keep being present in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like don't always skip ahead to, the next year or the year after that, thinking that all like things are gonna line up. Some things will not always, line up to where you want it to be. But things will sometimes come back full circle, to where you be like, okay, like I see why I had to go this route in order for me to get here. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of things that happen throughout your year, you gotta pay attention. For me, like, literally last month, I got laid off and I was like, man, like I didn't expect that. You see what I'm saying? Like I didn't have that. I didn't write that down, in my plans for that year. Like I didn't write that down. You see what I'm saying? But I think like it really showed me a lesson. It helped me learn a lot. And again, go back and listen to that episode, Eat Off Your Own Plate, where I share a lot of things, that I learned, from that loss. You see what I'm saying? And, I really took a lot of things away from that. So I think, again, like things going to happen to you, there's going to be full of ups and downs that happen each year, but you just have to pick up the lesson. You have to really understand, like, where's the direction that God wants you to go into, because you can plan, because you can write things down, you can create the plan, you can plan what you want to happen, but what's going to happen is the Lord is going to direct your steps. You see what I'm saying? So you can have a plan, but the Lord going to take you in the direction that He wants you going. And that's one thing I had to learn. It's like, man, like I'm going in the direction that God wants me to, not the direction that I want to. You see what I'm saying? So God may have something that He wants you to do. He may want you to do one of these things on your list, but it's just not going to be in the direction that you think it's going to go. You see what I'm saying? So you just have to, just think about that going into next year, and hopefully um, be able to move with purpose, which, by the way, is the theme for my theme going into next year, is move with purpose. And so I want to break down what this thing means for me. Now, again, it don't have to be the same for you. You can do what you want. But for me, I have decided that going into next year, it's going to be about moving with purpose. You see what I'm saying? And doing things that make sense in terms of what I want to be doing. Because I feel like, in life, you should be able to enjoy life. I think we forget that sometimes when we get caught up in the daily hustle, working 9 to 5, having to pay bills every 30 days, having to, for those of you who got kids, maybe having to take care of the kids, taking them to school and everything like that. You see what I'm saying? We get caught up in what is called what's referred to as the rat race, where it's like everybody just kind of moving in a cycle, what I mean? To where it's like, dang, like I'm just kind of going through the motions like everybody else. When you see all these cars on the road, when you see traffic in the morning, traffic in the afternoon slash evening, everybody doing the same thing. That's why there's so many cars out there. Because everybody trying to get to their job, go to work for 8 hours, come back home, and be able to spend, the time that they have left. But I feel like with this year, it's like, okay, I think that your life shouldn't be filled with doing things that are not meaningful to you, because you only get one life. And as you can see, people come and go each and every day. People come and go out this life. So I feel like going into next year, I feel like for those of you who may look back and be like, man, I didn't really get anything out of last year, or this year. I didn't really feel like I was doing enough. I didn't do anything that I wanted to do. I feel like with this year, you should be able to move with a purpose. So like if your purpose ain't going to that job every day, then don't do it. Then you don't have to do it. Like I feel like you should be able to figure out, okay, what are some of the things that you could really like capitalize off of. If you've always wanted to write a book, I think there's no better time to start, writing a book. If you have a business idea and you say, you know what, I want to see how this gonna go, then I feel like you should go after it. You see what I'm saying? Like if you want to travel more, if you want to go out to see, different things that you haven't seen before, I feel like you should have the freedom to do that. So, whatever it is you want to do, but you feel like you can't do it just because of, some obligations, like, financial reasons or maybe personal reasons, I feel like you should figure out, okay, what is the plan that I'm going to put in place to where it will allow me to have the bandwidth to be able to do it. Because if you don't do it, if you just sit around thinking like, okay, well, maybe next year, maybe in the year after that, well, guess what? You don't know if you're even going to be able to make it to the next year or the year after that. So, what we have to start doing is living in the now. Stop living in the future thinking that, oh, well, we got time to do this, we got time. Bro, come on, man. You don't know when your time's gonna be up. So while you have the opportunity, while you're still breathing, you should be able to do the things that you want to do in the time that you have. And if something is in the way of doing that, I feel like you should be able to eliminate whatever it is that is holding you back because that will allow you to really move with purpose. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like with this year coming up, move with the purpose, move with intention, have a plan to which to figure out, okay, like what are things that I can fulfill my time doing that's going to allow me to gain the most out of it. You see what I'm saying? Um, and so I feel like you should be able to enjoy that life, you know.
I, can I interject? I love how you said in the present moment, and you said lessons in the beginning. Um, in order to move with purpose this year, you've got to be present in the moment. You've got to be self-aware. In other words, you've got to where am I going this year? What is it that I want to do? And you've got to be present with yourself. Because if you're not present and you don't know what you want to do, it's going to be hard to move without purpose. I'll never forget. I met a French person doing Uber here, and he said to me, um, you start to live life when you set up your purpose or you move with intention and purpose and goal. That's life. He goes, because then everything you do surrounds that purpose and that intention. So this year, when you're thinking about it, what is it that you do want to do? I mean, is it something like a business, like Chris said? Is it something, writing a book? Is it a goal um, to that extent, or is it a personal goal? You know, maybe it's to become closer to your family. Maybe it's to overcome some interpersonal things that you need to overcome. Um, maybe it's maybe it's a simple, maybe it's complete opposite, like seeking the correct mental health. That's also purpose and intention. Maybe this year, other things, whatever your goal is, make sure you do it with purpose. So when you start to do things with purpose, then you start to create the action that's going to get you there. And you start moving forward with the action. So one of the questions I always ask my clients is, what does your end goal look like? What is your big MOFA? What is your motivating factor? We call it the MOFA. What is your motivating factor this year? What's going to move you there? And what are you willing to do this week? Not tomorrow, not next year. What are you willing to do this week to get there? And also, a key part of that, a key part of moving with purpose is lessons. I love how you said that as well, Chris. Lessons. Remember, any small leap is a big leap. No matter if you're like they told me, when I started my coaching business, even if you get one follow, one comment, one like, that's a win. And so people think that all of a sudden, well, I want to set up my business and they want to become Oprah the next day. You need to realize that that's not going to happen. And but you also need to realize in order to get to where, to that status, you need to be consistent and persistent in anything you do. And so lessons are learned. You're going to go through obstacles. That doesn't mean you're not going to go through obstacles, but what are the lessons in it all? What lesson can you learn from the fact that, okay, maybe it didn't work the first way I tried it. So what's the lesson? What can you learn from that? Maybe it's okay, now I got to try it a different way. Maybe, like Chris said, you're not moving like the Lord asked you to. You're moving at your own pace. And so he's trying to move you to where he wants you to be. So maybe it's that. What is the lesson? So I think that those are two great things to take away for the year, present in the moment and going through everything that you are about to go through in this new year, um, and learn the lessons from it. I also ask my clients, which is the third one I want to bring up, and then I'll let you go, Chris, is does what you're doing right now, you know, ask yourself that this year, is what you're doing aligning with your purpose? Does it align with your purpose? And if the answer is no, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it. Whether it's interpersonal or that you're trying to, your purpose, your MOFA, your goal, because it all means the same. Maybe it's interpersonal, maybe it's not. But what are you doing right now? Is it aligning with it? You know what I'm saying? If you want to write that book, but yet you're not looking for anyone, or you're not doing anything to look for a publisher or to even start or how to start, are you aligning with your purpose? And so if you're serious this year, 2023 is about purpose, intention, and moving forward. So if you say you want to do, then be what you want, then be what you say and move with purpose. Does it align? What is your purpose? Does it align? What I'm doing, does it align? And what lessons can I learn? I mean, it's pretty simple. Those are the three rules I live by. I ask myself all the time, every day, is what I'm doing aligning? And it's funny because I wake up at 6 a.m. I wake up at 6 a.m. I try to wake up every day at 6 a.m. I go to the gym with purpose. I come back. I have to interpret. I have to Uber and I have to attend to my business. But I do it all with a purpose because I know one day my business will take off. And slowly but surely, I've had people add me on Instagram, which is cool. And they've commented, people that I don't even know. And that's where I'm going this year. I'm creating my tribe so that my business can be one day successful. So take those three lessons this year and run with it.
That was great. That was awesome. I like everything that you said right there. And hopefully y'all took some away from that as we are running out of time. We got about 7 minutes and 29 seconds. One thing I was sitting here thinking because I saw the thing come up on the screen where it talked about you got 10 minutes left. You want to upgrade to Zoom Pro. I think one thing I'm gonna have to do, and I've said this before. Um, and I told myself, I'm like, man, I don't want to do this, but I feel like I'm gonna have to either upgrade to the Zoom Pro or invest into or look into another platform where we can do episodes. One thing I do want to do, and I mention that because I feel like going into next year, I feel like you should invest in yourself. There's a lot of us don't take the time to do. I feel like it takes money to make money. You've heard that before. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to, invest in myself. You see what I'm saying? One thing I do want to do is bring out longer episodes like I did in the past. It's just unfortunate how Zoom got to cut us off at 40 minutes. But one thing I do want to do, I want to, create longer episodes, and I want to, be able to take this podcast on the road, to where I can travel. Hopefully, I can travel, meet different people, do episodes in person, stuff like that. And take Sandra with me. I really want to take Sandra with me because she has been, like I said, she's been one of the most consistent people I work with. So one thing I do see in the future is us going on the road and being able to either, go somewhere in person or we can just do it virtually. We could travel virtually because now people have figured out how to do it virtually now. So, that's one thing I want to do, going into this year. Um, and just, yeah, just invest in myself, be able to, uh, just stick with it. Stick with whatever it is. And for those of you who may have some ideas and are like, man, like, I don't know if I'm at the right place, just go ahead and start it. I think about how I just started this podcast. Like I just started. Like I wasn't like no. I was like, how old was I? I think I was about 20 years old in college. Like what I'm saying, I ain't no certified, anything like that. I have no certification to do this. It's like I just started. So just if you guys are on the fence, it's no better time to start it now. Just go ahead and start it, and then continue to make progress along the way. Because I'm telling you, once you start, that's really all you need to do is just start it. And then, over time, you'll be able to see, okay, what are some changes and what are some improvements I can make along the way? You see what I'm saying? And then once you start, stick with it. And I'm so glad I decided to stick with the podcast. I'm so glad I decided to do the book, because, now like when people hear about it, they're like, yo, you got a podcast, you got a book. Like literally the other day, like when I was with my cousin and her husband and my aunt who haven't seen who I haven't seen my cousin in a while. I remember like I was basically haven't seen her since birth. And then when I told her, I was like, yeah, I got a book, I'm doing a podcast. She's like, for real? She's like, yo, I have to listen to it and stuff like that. And then when I told her I had a book published, her husband, who works in a school, like in a Montessori school, he's like, yo, like we actually trying to teach our kids how to do publishing. So, I want to, bring you on and be able to, talk to the kids and be able to, teach them about how to publish. So it's just like the opportunities that can open up for you if you just go ahead and start. People gonna know about it, man. People gonna really like be aware to it. They gonna be keen into what you're doing. So just don't be afraid to start because you never know what type of opportunities can be lying ahead. So I just, just want to just end with that and encourage y'all to just, go ahead and start. And then once you start, move with purpose. You see what I'm saying? And just like carve your days out to where it's like, okay, like what is it that's going to help me get to this purpose? And if it's not, and if something is in the way of that, just take it out. That way you can have more time to live more fulfilling, have more fulfilling life, and be able to enjoy the days that you have. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, I'll leave y'all with that, man. Hopefully y'all take something away from that and really like and get encouraged, get pumped up for going into this year. We got about 2 minutes, 55 seconds left. So just a quick reminder, go ahead and follow us on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. There's no space, no capitals. Also follow Miss Sandra on Instagram at Complete Confidence Coaching. Definitely go check us out. Keep us, like I said, keep us at the top of your in the top of your mind. You know what I'm saying? And just don't be afraid to reach out to us as well. Also follow my other Instagram page at Big Dot Boss Training. Again, that's at Big Dot Boss Training. If y'all looking for some trainers going into the new year, like I said, I got y'all. Y'all trying to get on a fitness program. Like I said, I got y'all. I'm multidimensional, man. You know what I'm saying? So definitely go check out that page as well. And be able to hit me up, and I'll definitely be able to help y'all out going into the year. But anyway, man, that's a wrap for today's show. This your boy, Chris Simmons, alongside my partner in crime, Sandra Cruz. We out. Take care, y'all. Peace.